Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. A few people said hello in the chat already, so I'll just welcome everyone in. So you're right, Matt. Thanks for joining us, and the window washer. And so I can't read the name, but from the US of A, Michigan. Hope I've said that right. And Nelly as well, and anyone else who's stealthily watching and not put anything in the comments. So yeah, I've been wondering what the hell shall I do for today's live, because last week's went down really well actually. And someone had put in the comments on some of the other videos, which made me laugh, saying, "You've got me thinking about window cleaning prices all week." And I definitely have, that's for sure. So I've often wondered how many of you have been thinking about it as well. And then I just thought I might as well lead on from last week, because this week all these things have been flying around my head, like how do I go around increasing prices? So I thought I'd talk about that really. And yeah, getting international, Nelly. We're getting there. And yeah, I was just thinking all my thoughts on that, because my head's going 10 to the dozen. And all I'm trying to do is find out something I can set in concrete, and that's my method. But I think whatever you do in life, nothing's right, nothing's wrong, is it? You all right, Alex? Cheers, mate. So that's what I thought I'd talk about. But before I go on about that, sorry, I just can't read what I'm my notes. They've hidden behind something. Let me get rid of that. Okay. I can't move this screen. Anyway, right, what we'll go on to is bits and pieces, because there's a couple of things going out, basically. Are you all right, Oasis window cleaning, mate? Happy Sunday as well. I've been cleaning my van, my pole. I've made pizzas for tea tonight. Kind of gone wrong, but I rescued it, so they come out right in the end. And I'm having a beer. Not really good to be drinking beer whilst talking about prices, so I have got a squash to follow it down later. But yeah, after last week, people are talking about doing Zoom on the live. So I've been looking into that. I can do it. I use Ecamm Live, which works with Zoom as well. So I've just got to swap up on it really, how to do that. And then, because I think you can have up to like 8 people at one time or something like that. I've never used Zoom before. So I'm going to look into that. It seems quite popular. Hi, Andrew, mate. And so I'm looking into that, and I want to do it during December anyway, before Christmas. Hopefully before Christmas, if I did a live before then where we could all just get on, have a general chit chat rather than posting your comments. Everyone can talk, if you get what I mean. We kind of see how it goes, in for a penny and all that. And also another thing that come up from there was people talking about a WhatsApp group or Facebook group. So Matt from Your Cleaner Windows has been really proactive. He started up a Facebook group called the Window Cleaning, or the Window Cleaners Hub. I can't remember what it's called now. Let me find it out. Yeah, it's the Window Cleaners Hub. And what I'll do is I've got a link in the description I've just posted on there, and I'll stick one up in the chat for you. Hopefully that's just come up. There's a link there where you can basically become a member of the club. Matt's trying to keep it sort of like, so not everyone can just apply willy-nilly. So we want it kind of like a closed group. So it's just people really like us, like-minded, like to hang out, and we can help each other really for advice, that sort of thing, or just general chit chat and have a laugh. You know what I mean? So the link's in there, the link's in the description. And Matt from Your Cleaner Windows, he's like an admin. He's put me down as an admin, and I'm sure he'll pick some of you guys to go as an admin in there as well, so we can moderate it and just learn as we go. So it's all there anyway. So the title of today's live then was basically calculating your window cleaning prices and services. So I'm trying to work out, how the hell do you work out where you're getting from? So I'll just sort of basically follow on from last week's live really. So how do you work out things? So I'm going to get up like a heading, so to speak. Is obviously, it goes without saying, is basically you need to work out what your outgoings are really. So you know month to month how much money is going out. So you need to cover them bases. And obviously amongst them, you're going to have fixed prices. So certain things are the same exactly every month. And then you're also going to have your variables. That can be your fuel, because some days you use more fuel than others. So some months are going to cost you more. And I suppose it's best to work off last year, because that's probably the most up-to-date year current to where you are. And from that, you could probably work out then on your variable costs, like your fuel, what is it on average you're spending through the year? So you can work out the average for the month and then put that down as your monthly outgoings. Same with kit and equipment. You know, how much kit have you spent that year on replacing sections of your pole? Talking about that, my son, we're cleaning the pole. Number 2 section split at the bottom. I need to buy a new one of them. And also his number 4 sections had a split in it, but I haven't had enough money to buy that. So that's two sections on his pole I've got to replace. I've got some money to do that now, so I'll be ordering them later. He could have told me while I know all the Black Friday deals are on. Hopefully I've just qualified for them. So yeah, get a list of all your outgoings, really, of your running costs for your business. But when you're starting out, this is really hard because you don't know what your outgoings are, do you? That's what I found. And they're obviously going to increase as you go through time. So it's something we all keep an eye on anyway. So yeah, work out what your outgoings are. And then also the other thing you want to do is how much profit do you want to make a month? So just think, after you've paid yourself a wage, you've covered all the outgoings, your projected outgoings that you kind of worked out, and then add on how much profit you want to be in the pot every month. So you've got to fall back onto when you lose days work. There's something there to tide you over, that sort of thing, and the unexpected bills that come in with the price you're getting your van fixed, because that's another variable as well. You know, you don't. It depends what's wrong with the van, how much it's going to cost, doesn't it? So you kind of want to pot for that. So yeah, work out the profit you want after wages and all the outgoings. So that's like your buffer. You all right, Sean, mate? And Potter's window cleaning. He's just saying as well, you should do monthly management accounts. Yeah, I use Zero, and that's got good reports and things on there to see all these things, if you get what I mean. But it's still probably good as well to make up your own spreadsheet for planning purposes, if that makes sense. And it's something we should all do. It's not something I learned to do at school. It's something I've had to learn doing this job. Certainly didn't know how to do it in the military, but yeah, you got to keep an eye on these things. Keep your finger on the pulse at all times to kind of see where your money's disappearing and where you can rein it in a bit, because everything's a bit tight, isn't it? So yeah, that's what I thought, was working out your profit. And the other thing is the VAT threshold, which I believe is 90,000, and I'm not sure how it all works, but I think when you get to 88,000 a month, you have to register because you're creeping up to 90. So it says 90,000, but you're probably in your heads, if that's correct, just say 88,000. But for argument's sake, for today, I'm going to say the threshold is £90,000. So why am I mentioning that? Well, it's basically because I have these ideas going around my head, is how to work out what my hourly rate is or how much I should charge per window. Two different methods that are flying around my head at the moment. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, where am I going to go with this one? Well, I'll go back to this screen, and then what I'm going to get up here is my calculator. So here's my calculator, for example. So for this, what I'm going to say is, if I can find my calculator, I think I've hidden it behind something. Right, I can't find it. It's hidden behind a window that I can't get to. Here we go. I think I've just got it. No, if I small that. Right, here we go. Whoa, pressing some crazy buttons here. What have I done? Right, the screen's going mental. Just bear with me. Got some window open that I can't get hold of now, and it's covering everything on my screen. Right, roger that. I think I've got a different screen, absolutely massive. I have no idea what's going on here. I've pressed a button and it's doing its own thing. Right, we kind of rescued it. Okay, where are we gone then? Right, some of my windows have disappeared. So just get me an overlay on. Scenes in it. Sorry. Bear with me, guys. Yeah, Nelly, honestly, I've only had the one. Oh, no. Scene, sorry. It's just Ecamm the way it works. Right, here we go. Yeah, so let's get my product back up. Here's my calculator. Right. Figured something out somehow. When I press this screen, this thing is jumping to massive. It's just gone weird again. I have no idea what the hell is going on. Right. I think it's something to do with me. Oh, what on earth is going on? Right, bear with me because I can't even get to my calculator. Yeah, obviously it's a good beer. Here's a Carlsberg Export, mind. Okay. Here we go. Right, that's that problem solved, hopefully. On a small screen, and we want it there. Right, going back to my calculator then. Yes, I've got hold of it. Something's gone right. So what I was working out is, I suppose you want to work for the maximum money you can before you have to go VAT registered, the threshold. No, it's all right, mate. I had a screen covering up mine, so I couldn't see my calculator. I know you can see it. The screen you're looking at, basically, was taking out my whole screen on my monitor. So all these other little windows I'd open, I couldn't see. So I'll go 90,000 then for your threshold for your, is that 90,000? VAT registration, all right? So 90,000 a year. And then what I've worked out is if you divide that by 12, that's going to basically give you the maximum money you can earn each month, because in a year you're going to achieve £90,000, aren't you? And I know you may, like when you hit 88,000, for example, then have to get VAT registered. But really, in reality, isn't it? You're not going to work every day. You're going to lose days because your van's got to go off to, like mine is on the 19th of December. It's booked in for an MOT. So that's one day's work, I'm sure, already. And then you're going to have days where the weather stops you from working. So you're probably going to be under that in reality, even though you've planned for it, if that makes sense. But this is just like planning purposes. So I'm just thinking to myself, you all right, Mark, mate? Just thinking to myself, like, for £90,000 in a tax year, you want to be earning roughly £7,500 every 4 weeks or once a month. So that's what you've got per month. And because you work Monday to Friday, what I'm getting at here is basically you want to divide that figure. It's 5-day week. So that's 5 times 4. So that's 20 is the way I'm working off. So I'm just going to divide this total by 20 to kind of basically break it down from a monthly to my daily rate. So I will need to earn £375 a day, Monday to Friday, to get me to that £90,000. And then, like we said, this is just planning, all right? Obviously, you can work your figures out a bit better than that, like in terms of working out what your outgoings is, how much money you want to earn and all that. But I'm just, you know what I mean? This is just a figure of breaking it down. So in my head, then I need my daily rate, my daily target is £375 is what I need to get £90,000 in a year, thereabouts. So we've sorted that out. But then how do you work that into your hourly rate? This is all things that have been going through my mind this week. So like I work 8 o'clock and trying to get home by about 5. So that's a 9-hour day. But in reality, I'm not working on the windows for 9 hours because I'm driving from A to B. And then I'm also driving between every clean I've got as well. And if I've got to go home to refill up with water, got to stop to use a toilet, all this stuff's got to be factored in. Sorry, Nelly, just saying if you're planning of going over the VAT threshold, you're best of registering for the first rate VAT beforehand. So I don't know what the first, flat rate. Is that the one where like VAT is 20%, but I think because we're window cleaning, you actually 8% rather than 20. Is that right? But I know you can still charge your customers 20%, but it means obviously you're gaining 10. I think it's 10%, isn't it? Sorry. So instead of charging 10% to customers, you could charge 20 and you're getting 10% extra as well. So that's another way of doing it. But is that what you mean by flat rate, mate? So it's 10% rather than 20? Because I've never obviously got that close yet. Well, not too far off. I'll come into that. But yeah, going back to what my day rate is, how do I break that into an hourly rate? Well, I'm not going to divide it by 9 because like I'm driving. I mean, it's surprising. I worked in the village next to mine, and then I come back to my village, and then behind me there's another village I worked in. So the village is very close to mine. And I use my stopwatch on my phone in my van. Every time I turn the key to drive, I press start. And when I turned on the drive and turned the key off, I press stop on the timer. And through the day, I mounted, even though I drove 17.5 miles that day, I actually drove for 55 minutes. So you might as well say it's an hour. So instead of working 9 hours, my hourly rate is going to be based on 8 hours because an hour of it's driving, if that makes sense, so far. And then some days you're going to be driving further. So you could be driving for, I reckon, as an average, about 2 hours a day, you're actually driving. So instead of dividing that figure, my daily rate, I keep pressing it on the screen, not my calculator. So if I divide that instead of by 9, because I'm, say, driving for 2 hours, I'm going to divide it by 7. This is what I've got going on in my head. So that's going to give me the hourly rate I need to earn for those 7 hours to achieve £375, which my target I'm setting in my head for that day. And that's taken into account, roughly, driving as well. Hopefully, that makes sense. It's just thought-provoking stuff. So I'm just clicking over here where I've got to as well. So that's my hourly rate, and then I can go further. What I can do is divide that figure by 60. So I'm breaking it down from 1 hour into what I need to be charging per minute. And there's kind of, I'm going somewhere with this, by the way. So Potter's window cleaning. He's just saying if you're not VAT registered and you regularly have 2 or 3 of you working in the van, you're massively underpriced. And I agree with you. We are underpriced. That's why I'm going for all this as well. And being rural should also add a premium. So yeah, I agree as well, because you're having to drive to these areas that can be in the middle of nowhere as well. So it's all adding onto your time, which is, like I was saying, is reducing, it's putting your hourly rate up, because your hourly rate of when you're on the tools, because when some people say, this is all I'm saying, when I first started, they're going, I'm on £30 an hour. I was thinking, well, if you're doing an 8-hour day, that's £30 times 8. That's how much money you're bringing in. It doesn't work like that. When people say they're on £30 an hour, they're talking from when you press start on your stopwatch and start cleaning and you press stop, be it you getting out of the van and unpacking. Well, some people do that and then press start, don't they? And then they say, oh, I'm on £30 an hour and that. But you're not, because you've still got your driving to take into account for that. So that's what I'm trying to say, is if you work out your daily rate, try and divide it by how many hours you're actually working as opposed to driving as well. So it's covering you driving. And then I'm dividing it again by 60 to try and work out not an hourly rate, my minute rate. And the reason is because if you're going to be one of these people that looks at a house and think, well, this is going to take me 20 minutes, all I've got to do with this figure then, because I've now got it in my head or written down somewhere so I can bung it in my calculator. And then all I'm going to do is times that by 20, because I'm going to say it's take me 20 minutes. And if I'm going off time, it means I should be charging £17.86p, but obviously going to round up. So you probably call it an £18 house. And then on top of that, you might turn around and say, you know, it's a pain to get my hoses around, so I put a bit extra. Or like you're saying, if it's rural and you're having to drive out far, you might think I'm inclined to add another £1 on as well for that. So this is what I'm trying to say, is you can work out what you need for the year, divide it by what it should be a month, break it down into your daily rate, and then work out hourly rate. So like I said, I'm 9-hour day, but I'm probably spending 2 hours actually driving the van, and then break my hourly rate down into what it is per minute. And then if you're going to cuff it by looking at a house and saying, well, that house can take me half an hour, you just times that figure by 30, and then there's your price, round it up. That's something that's been going through my head. And then using this theory as a way of looking at the prices I'm already charging on my houses. Are these ones underpriced? About right, you know what I mean? Or overpriced. If they're overpriced, to keep them where they are underpriced, I'm going to bump them up, and I know how much to put my prices up by as well, or what I should be heading for. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. So I just seen Matt's comment as well. He's saying, I have always aimed for £45 to £50 an hour as a single cleaner. So that's just you yourself, whereas obviously I've got my son and daughter with me. So you can see we're underpriced, but you can already see to have enough money for 3 people working in a van, I'm probably going to be charging needing over 375 a day. So already, you're going to be over that VAT threshold if you've got your things right. So it shows I'm massively off. But hopefully that kind of makes sense to you. So that's working out basically your daily rate, breaking it down to every hour, every minute. So when you're timing your jobs, you know whether you're on point or you're not. And also I was going to say, from this, you can work out whether you're efficient or not to achieve that, because it's not all about just bumping up your prices. It's looking at what can you do to make you quicker. Now, obviously, you don't want to be working 120% all day because you're going to knacker yourself out, but you want to be efficient. So, it helps speed you up. It's going to push up your hourly rate as well. Because if you go around charging people the money you feel you should be per hour, well, if no one's prepared to pay that much money, then you're kind of like, well, how can I make it work? So you're going to have to dip under to get the work. But then to make it up, you're going to have to work faster to push your hourly rate up to where it should be, if that kind of makes sense. So it's not as clear cut as what we all think, is it? As Matt's just saying in the comments, I don't always do it, but that's the aim. Yeah, so I suppose if you price yourself a bit per hour higher than what you need, it doesn't matter if you're slightly lower, you're still hitting a good amount to get the money you need. And you're just saying when you do gutter clears, etc., but it's more like £65 an hour or more. And this is something else that's going to cover. You can use this method to kind of work out what you should be charging for your other services you do, or whether these other services are worth offering because they're actually losing your money. If that all kind of makes sense. And then the other method that I was going to go about is, if I just clear this, for your daily rate, was let's go back to that figure of, say, £375, is divide that by the number of cleans you think you can do in a day. Now, this is a bit funny because every clean you do is different. So I could say I do 22 cleans, but I might have 4 that are really small, a couple that are medium, and some that are really big. Because I live rural, it's hard to price, say, what a 3-bedroom house is, because if it's an old 3-bedroom house, over the years it's had extensions built on it, so there's more windows on it than what you'd think it would be on a 3-bedroom house, for example. And then obviously you've got new builds around here which look different to an old house, and some of them are round with windows, then big massive ones at the front, which are crazy because everyone asks, can you clean the insides? Because there's no way someone living in there can reach and clean them. So Alex is saying, don't work faster than a comfortable pace. Yeah, there's always one that will pay for one that won't. Like you say, you can't work like 10 men all the time. You're going to wear yourself out. But at the same time, you can't take your time to be really slow. But you can work out how to be efficient and to push your hourly rate up by being efficient, if that makes sense. It's trying to get the balance right, so your price is right with what people are willing to pay at the end of the day. And like I said, the other methods work out, like I said, your daily rate, let's just say you can do 12 to 15 cleans, so 375. Divide that by 15, even though, like I said, there is no standard clean. But what it means is, on average, that means you need to be charging £25 per clean that you're doing. And obviously some are going to be under that, but some houses might be big and be more. But on average, if you get what I mean, that's what you're pushing for. So that's another way I thought of doing it. Right, all right, Nelly, I'll have a look at that link, because I'm guessing the link changes. That's a bummer. Matt, I don't know if you can do it, mate. Could you just work out the link and put it in the chat for everyone? And then I'll try and work out a better link that we can put in the description or whatever in the videos. If not, I'll work something out. So that's 2 methods, really. I thought, because I know some people like to say, when you read all the groups when you're first starting, isn't it? Everyone just says it's simple. Work out your hourly rate and then work out in your head how long it's going to take, and then divide it by that. But it's fine when you know what you're doing and you've got experience. But when you're first starting, you look, I don't even know how long it's going to take me to clean it. Plus, I'm going to be slow because I'm new. That's the way I looked at it. So I like to work out a price per window and do it that way, and then think, will I be able to do it fast enough to be on my hourly rate that I need to get, that sort of thing. And then I know maybe add a bit on, take a bit off. And also what we do per window is we have it per standard size window. So I basically break down the house, count all the windows, and if some of them are big, I add on a standard size window because I'm converting the whole house into standard windows, if that makes sense. And then that's my figure. And then I just charge per window for that. And then if there's any access issues, I might add on one window, use my ladder, I'll add on one window, that sort of thing. Matt's just saying, I'm not sure anyone can click a link if you put it on. Okay. This is something we'll try and work out. I don't know, Matt, can people get hold of us through Facebook? Because I'm using my personal name, Robert Cohn, and I think you're using yours as well, aren't you? And we could work it out that way. Or I don't know if we could use it. Can you use your Facebook page in a group so people can get us through that way? We'll work something out and we'll bung it out in my community as a post or something with a link. Sorry about that. It's just an idea we got where we could all just help each other out. So I'm just trying to see where I've got to. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking at with using my calculator. I don't know what methods you guys use to work out what your prices should be. Because there's another thing I'll go into, is when you start looking up questions, let's just say on Google. For example here, I don't know if you can see it on the screen properly. You probably can't, and I don't know how to zoom in. If I get rid of that, will that be better? Here we go. Right, search results here for how much does a window cleaner earn per hour? And it's not really clear cut neither, is it? I think I've just been on one screen. Sorry, guys. So, yeah, going back to here, sorry. So Angus, mate, is saying you're new, first 8 months to my business. I'm charging £5 plus £1 per window, roughly. So it's £1 a window plus a £5 on top. And you're a one-man band. And yeah, like you say, when you're new, you don't know how fast you're going, do you? Or how slow. And plus you're taking into account you're new. So you know as each year goes by, you're probably going to speed up as well. And it's trying to take that into account. I know where you are. Because I had all this headache when I started. And you're constantly evaluating it to work it out. Because you want to get it right as soon as possible, really. But at the end of the day, if you're charging a price you're happy with and the customer's happy with, that's all that counts really, mate. And you're covering your bills, aren't you? But inflation goes up, because that's why I'm doing my price increase every 2 years. And I'm trying to work out, do I do it just adding £1 on? Do I do it percentage? I'm trying to look how squeegee works so I can make it easy. So I'm not personally texting 568 individual customers their price and the date it takes effect. I want it like with squeegee. There is a way of doing it. You do something, press a button, and it just automatically tells everyone at one click. And it adjusts their prices as well. So I don't have to go and adjust their prices. It's done automatically. That's the sort of thing I'm trying to work out. But yeah, going back to, if you look on the internet, like I said, now I just go, how much does a window cleaner earn per hour? Because that's the sort of thing you do when you're first starting as well. And you can see here, it's just saying the window cleaner's hourly rate varies on many factors, including your location, your skills, and whether they're self-employed or work for a company. And then it even goes on to say, like in Cambridge, £12.22. Well, the minimum wage is £12.21. But being self-employed, you can earn more or less, can't you? And in Leeds, it's trying to say it's £9.87. So if anyone's from Leeds, you can tell us, because I wouldn't have a clue. And then it's saying here about self-employed, you've got more control over your pay than those who work for a company. But we all know if you work for a company, you're getting the benefits of holiday pay, sick pay, that sort of thing. Self-employed, you do not get that. So again, that's another thing to factor in your pricing, isn't it? And then it's saying as well, if you're a business owner, like it's saying here, £30.08 per hour. So Matt aiming for 45. Well, sorry, was it 45 to 50 an hour. And then if you don't always get it, at least you're going to be closer to that figure, which is good. And then it's also saying here, conservative, this is just Google, remember, AI. For domestic window cleaners, hourly rate is £20 to £30 an hour. Window cleaners typically earn clean 15 to 20 properties in a day. But like we've already said, it depends on the size property. And you can earn at least £200 a day. And obviously you're going to have your outgoings coming out of that. So you've got to work out what you need to earn a day to be safe and have a profit and a wage, don't you? And then from that, is it doable in a day, working out your pricing structure? Because at the end of the day, you can only do so many cleans in a day. The answer is not always I'll take on more customers, because you get to the point where you physically cannot take any more customers, and the only other way is to put your prices up, which is what you've probably been avoiding in the first place. So, yeah, even going on here, it's not clear cut when you're looking on the internet and just Googling it. It doesn't really give you a clear cut answer, does it? And then you get people telling you they earn £500 a day. But what they're not telling is how many days a week they're probably working. But £500 a day, you can see you're well over, if you're doing it every day, 5 days a week. But then you're 10 grand a month, aren't it? It's 120 grand a year. So you're way over the fat threshold. But people don't really come clear on that. It's hard, isn't it? You see people, they say stuff and make out they're doing better than what they are, if that makes sense. We're covering the bills, but I know I'm fundamentally going wrong somewhere, and I'm trying to find it out. And I'm damn sure it's probably going to be doing pricing on some of my customers. Some are really low, like when I first started. And I've been trying to creep them up, but obviously got to draw a line, I think, and just say it's this much, and they either leave or go. But I'm in a good position where I've got, like I said, loads of customers, 568. It's not just me on my own, remember? So I can probably afford to put my prices to where they definitely should be. And if people leave, chances are, hopefully, just cuffing it here for the planning, I'm going to be on the same money I'm on now, but for less work. And I've got more spaces where newer customers coming in and they accept my price, then I'm going to be better off rather than trying to model the way I am now, if that makes sense. I'll just go to some of the comments, because there's been a lot coming in. Because I just want to catch up with people here. So I think the last one I mentioned was Angus saying he's new, 8 months in. Well done, mate. It's probably one of the best times is your first year, because you've got that thrill of the chase, haven't you? And the phone going off, people after you, your services, and you're thinking yes, and you're thinking what you're doing, you're really analysing everything. I certainly missed that. And then you get to the point where before you know it, mate, you will be busy. You will be. But I think that's obviously going to work for you, because I think when I first started, mate, in 2018, I was charging £1 a window because I just thought it was easier to count. And then I worked out very fast that's not good enough. So I did £1 a window plus £2. So that's 7 years ago. So I'd probably be £1 a window plus £5 to £7 if I just kept my increases every 2 years, sort of thing, going up £1, I suppose. Probably about the same, actually, when you look at it like that. Cheers, Andrew, for saying hit the likes. Angus as well, just come back. I've had a few where you've made the wrong decision or agreed a price that was too low. Don't worry, mate, I've done that and I'm still got them. And that's years down. And last time I did my price increase, I felt it was too much to push them to where they should be. So we kind of halved it, or got to a maximum, say, of extra £3. Or if it's a small house, we just put £2 on it and just said we're going to live with it till the next price increase and creep them up, that sort of thing. It's best to try and get it right early, but you learn through experience. So just always keep your finger on the pulse till you find what you're happy with. There's loads of different factors go into this, mate. You're right, Paul. He's saying you keep a record of how long it takes to do jobs and then use a similar method to what I've just described. Yeah, to kind of working out, you know what I mean, an hourly rate, or how much is it per minute, and then how long it should take, or trying to work out, like I like to just charge per window, and I standardize a house into standard windows and then go from there. And then, like we said, just add a window on if I have to use a ladder or there's problems with access, that sort of thing. You kind of learn what works for you. Everyone does it different, but you just want to do something where it fits in your head. And every time you do a quote, you can quote quite fast that way. Because the customer, it's horrible. Like Angus as well, mate. I used to hate that quoting. You feel under pressure because the longer you take, the more you think the customer's losing confidence in you. But all you're trying to do is get it right down to the bone of being fair to you and fair to the customer. Door and window cleaning. So I just come round to yours, mate. Just saying charge minimum of £40 per hour for your windows, but you actually earn will vary depending on downtime, fuel, equipment. Yeah. I mean, that's what I've thought, because there's me, Matthew and Sophie always working together, and we have been working around £60 per hour. That is with three of us, like. But I know how customers will. They'll look at you and say, we've only been here this long. That's £60 an hour. And that's where you could say, get your calculator out. Because if I did £60 an hour, I'd work 9 hours a day. That means I'd be on £560 a day. And I'm not. And I'd show them what I'd be earning on my squeegee. And I say, you can see I don't earn that just because you think I'm working that fast. Because what you don't realise is what's factored in that £60 per hour as you've worked out is all my fuel costs, my insurance, the driving I'm losing, I'm not working when I'm driving, all that sort of stuff to cover my bases. And I'm paying 3 people and running a business. Most people are fine, you know what I mean? But those that think that way won't realise. But it's how you handle that conversation. I think you just got to say it in a normal conversation sort of thing. And then people are, oh, I didn't realise that. But it just goes to show, doesn't it? But you sometimes think £30 an hour when I started, thinking, no way, carpenters on this. But when you realise what the cost factored into it. I mean, another example is think about when you take your car to the garage and they hit you with labour costs. Well, that's what labour costs is, isn't it? It's taking into account all the other factors that needed to run a business and paying the staff as well, not just the parts for the van, but that's what labour is, isn't it? It's taking all their running costs into account. And they're only open so long as well. And you get some jobs take longer than others. So that's what labour is, isn't it, really? It's what it falls under. Sorry, Nelly is just saying the price all behind if you're happy earning, a wage, or you want a wage plus company profit. And I would like to have money in my business because there are times when things go wrong. I've had a new engine I had to get for my van. That was £4,000. Luckily I had that, but it completely wiped me out. And it's been a hell of a hard slog, and I get somewhere. This year, these last 2 months have been good for me. At the end, I've had a profit that I'd have expected every month this year, but it hasn't worked that way because the first 6-7 months of this year, the weather was terrible. Even though it was meant to be warm and mild, we lost lots of days through working where we couldn't. And that's hurt me. You know what I mean? That's why you want to profit. That's your buffer. I've always said I'd love to have a whole month in the bank as a buffer, and I'd call that as balance as zero to me. So if there's a problem, I've got a whole month I can still cover the costs. That's just me in my head. Dawn saying as well, add-ons £60 an hour. So you've got to clear in fascia softeners and gutters, conservatory roofs. You're basing it all on £60 an hour, basically, because it's got to pay more than what your windows are, isn't it? Otherwise, it's not worth dropping your windows to clean someone's gutter. It's got to be worth more, really, or at least the same. So, Angus, come around to you, mate. I've gotten quite good in the short time I've been in business at judging what to charge, which I'm glad of. Yeah, you just do your thing, mate. Don't bother too much about everyone else. It's good to know what everyone else is doing and work out their methods. So you can kind of work out if you're on the right path, or if you're on the wrong path, how you should correct yourself, which is what I've got to do. Potters is saying, my guys do an average of £360 a day, 5 days a week on their own. Wow. Your biggest issue is 3 people in the van. Yep, it's incredibly efficient, especially when you have long drives between jobs. And I'd agree with that. The problem is with me is my daughter Sophie's not going to be hanging around. She's trying to move up to Scotland. She couldn't find a job, so I offered her, give me a hand to do this, and she's liked it. And it's been nice working together and with my kids as well. But the problem is I haven't got 2 vans. She won't drive anyway. She refuses to drive. My son is under 25, so it cost me a lot to insure him, and he's not too keen on driving a van, really. And, when you're reversing in tight spaces, drives, that sort of thing. So it's down to 1 van, so I have to work as a 3. But me and Matthew can work and do the jobs we need to do as a 3 on most days. There are days where we really miss not having Sophie. But the thing is, we don't have to get out the van and help lift the 45-litre trolley in or out the van, for example. And then even when it's out the van, Sophie's got to fill up the 45-litre trolley with 25-litre barrels. So she's not cleaning, and then me and Matthew out cleaning. Whereas when it's just me and Matthew, we just open the door, back of the van, grab your hose, and you're off. So you are more efficient. And you can argue as well whether you need to be one person per van or two people per van to work out your efficiency. Like saying, how are you going to earn more? 2 in a van or 1 in a van? You know what I mean? But at the moment, I've just got the 1 van, so I'm stuck to that. So that's my Achilles heel. But Sophie soon will be moving up to Scotland. There's just been a few problems come up that got in the way, like a fella, he got put in a coma basically, so it put everything on hold. But they've been up hunting for jobs in Scotland. She's now back. She's going to work with us. As soon as she's got a job, she'll be up there, and then I'll be her wage better off in the business, so to speak, and I can look at upping Matthew's money. Going back to the comments, so Potter's window cleaning saying, I'm just down. Okay, you're just down the road from me. I would be happy to meet up for coffee. Mate, I'll take you up on that. Because this thing is just doing my head, and I spend lots of time, I should be sleeping, trying to work all this out because I just want to get it right. And probably like you lot, when I get up and you're out cleaning, all I want to do is clean the window. It's the amount of work you've got to go into just arriving at someone's house to clean a window is unreal. Dawn's saying, earn less per day with 2 of us and feel we're very efficient, can't ever work it out. Oh, so what you're saying with 2 of you feel like you're earning less than when you're both on your own, but because you feel like you're being really efficient. Yeah, I don't know, mate. It's weird. It's nice to be working with someone, isn't it? Sometimes, though, because you can chat and have a laugh, or when there's problem solving to be done, you can bounce ideas off each other. Mark's just saying, I took the stress out of working all day by changing my schedule to 5 weekly instead of 4. Did this to consistently getting new customers. Getting consistently new customers. You've currently got 499 regular cleans. Wow. And is that all by yourself as well, mate? Because like I say, we're working as like a team of 3. Clean Precise Solution saying, I think the charge is always different depending where we are in the country. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Some get £25 plus for a 3-bedroom house, and other people only get 15. And that's what the market is around you, what people are prepared to pay. So what me and my wife are saying, we know we've got to put the prices up, and we're going to. But we also feel if we push them up too high, though, a lot of people just turn around and tell us to sod off. So it's trying to get that balance right, because you can't afford. Can you afford to lose? You know, how much can you afford to lose, really? And it kind of like does your confidence. I suppose just having the balls, isn't it? The confidence to just do it. You always do more solo. It never doubles up when 2 or 3. So you can put 1 on a van. Yeah, it's like I said to my son when he come on. I said, we're not going to be twice as fast. For a start, he's going to be slow when he's learning, using more water, which was the case. But you know they're going to speed up. But even then, that's what I've said. If 2 of you, even both of you, work exactly the same speed, you do not half it, because your setting up and packing away time is exactly the same. Drive into where you're going is exactly the same. It's just the cleaning on the actual windows. So I've always said you're probably going to be 3/4 faster as opposed to double. So between half and 3/4 faster. Or that's how I kind of worked it in my head. The road, if your boy drives, he did have a car, but he hasn't driven for quite a while. And like he said, he's working most of the time. So what's the point of having a car? It costs so much money. But I think my van, his insurance will be sky high. I haven't asked, but he's under 25. And I know his confidence isn't that good. Do little things at home like pull the van forward, that sort of thing. But on the road, I think he wouldn't. Angus, yeah, Scotland. Now she's just recently come down Saturday from Scotland after 2 weeks up there. She said it was all right, actually. Saying that, mate, how do you get on up there with the weather? Because like, how many days do you get weathered off? Because you can get some storms up there, can't you? But also they forecast some bad storms, and it turns out to be all right. John Winters is saying just save as much money as you can initially. Start spending money and enjoying all your hard work when the time is right. 3 or 4 years, 5 or 6 years later. Yeah, I tend to try and save up my money, but when you get it and then you sort of like go, well, I need this kit, I need that because you've been putting it off. Soon goes on out. Stuff that's sort of like waiting to be brought in it. You learn more with one per van. So someone else is saying that as opposed to two in there or like three. I have been saying to my wife for about 2 years, if we're going to grow, I need another van and someone needs to drive it. And then with my wife used to work as well, we could have 2 teams of 2. But like my daughter's, she's planning on moving and my wife can't at the moment. So it'll end up just being me and Matthew. And then if I had 2 vans, it could be one in each van, but I don't think Matthew's that confident to drive. But that'd be me when I'd have to take on more work, give him less till he gets the hang of it a bit, that sort of thing. But I come across that bridge when I come across it. And Nelly says you've got 3 rounds on the go and you find it's better as well, one per van. I suppose as well as what I was thinking, if you got one person in the van and like squeegee your time in it, it's easier to time, isn't it? Because if it's one person working and the customer comes out to chat, you can pause it. But when there's 2 of you working, one's chatting, one's working, it's hard to pause the timer then if you're doing that method of working out your price due to the time it takes, if you get what I mean. So I think it'd be easy with one person in the van and you can see if someone's being efficient or not. Oasis Window Cleaning is saying, I usually run one person, I do the full job. Typically, the ticket is $490 to $630. That's including screens. Yeah, you do it different to us, don't you? I do give a little bit of a deal if they have the interior done. Yeah, it makes sense as well, doesn't it? Because you're all in one spot. You're not doing extra driving. And you don't want them to say no. You want them to say yes to bump up the money. So, you know, you can take a little bit of a hit of it, but at the same time, you're gaining out of it as well. And like you say, you got all them screens because I used to watch Luke the window cleaner a lot. So you're taking screens off, cleaning them, and it's all extra stuff on your bill. And do people out there, mate, get them done like once a year or twice a year or quarterly, as opposed to like here in the UK, people like to have them done every 4 or 8 weeks. Dawn's just saying as well, a van blower packed up, electric reel packed up, controller smoked. Oh no, all in 1 week. Jesus Christ, mate. You kind of hope it's one thing that's caused all that, so you can fix one thing and they're all back to normal. Jesus, feel your pain there. Sorry to hear that, mate. Okay, that's in Michigan, yeah, and that's for myself per day. Wow, some days I don't have anybody, but I have another full-time job in construction, and you do that as well. Bloody hell, mate. That's interesting. Have you ever thought of binning off construction and going over to window cleaning? Because it's just like completely different. I mean, I love being a window cleaner because being an ex-squaddy, I just like being outside. So it doesn't bother me, the weather, really. What bothers me about the weather is when it stops me working. But I just like being outside. And the other thing I like about window cleaning, because for us, we're not doing the big jobs you guys in the US are doing. You can bounce around 15, 20 cleans and you're meeting different people, having a quick chat as well. And some of them need that chat. So I kind of like that. It's nice. So you're not always on your own, if you get what I mean. But I'm not because I've got my kids. The rates in the US make me feel sick. Yeah, compared to what we're getting. But they're doing more as well, aren't they? Right, yeah, just on your own. Okay, sometimes I wonder if I drop my quality slightly, which would still be far better than anyone else in my area if I could pull off 1 or 2 or 3 jobs a day. So getting lower ticket jobs, drawing in more customers. Yeah, I mean, honestly, mate, everyone on here on my videos were telling me I'm doing too many passes on the window, so I'm over cleaning, and I've corrected that now, and it's sped me up. But it's a confidence thing because I called myself Crystal Clean Windows, and I first started, like Agnes will probably know where we're coming from here, being someone who started. I just thought I've got to really do a good job of cleaning the windows because if they're not good enough, that's the first comment people say, call himself Crystal Clean Windows. They're not clean. So I kind of, because of my name, I had to go for it. And I think because of that, it's always made me over clean. And then it's become habit. I'm aware of it now. I'm doing it different. And I'm still trying to see if I can cut it down a bit more. But like I say to my son, just clean the window till it's clean. Once it's clean, it's clean. You all right, mate? Doesn't matter what area you're working in. If everyone put their minimum up to a reasonable price, they potential customers wouldn't have a choice. Yeah, so everyone's kind of like the same. And like you're saying, £5, £10 houses are not paying bills. And it's the horrible thing about that is there are so many people in houses that you'd probably qualify as a £10 house, and you've got to charge them your minimum wage, which minimum charge, which is £15 or above, or we're thinking 13, because some of the houses we clean. And it just feels bad to alienate certain people, doesn't it? But you've got to work out, is it worth it? With the time it takes and all that lot. You've got to do what you've got to do to survive, really, at the end of the day. The window washer saying last week's live prompted me to be a bit braver this week when quoting a lady. She didn't even bat an eyelid when I gave her the price. I think a bit of. Yeah. My wife, we got a quote come in. They sent some pictures. We're going through them, and I was looking at my wife, and I said, I'd say that's 25. And she looked at me and she said, I've already quoted it, and I've gone for 30. And I was like, what? And she said, that's my tester. I'm going to be a bit brave. So she's always telling me I'm not charging enough. So that's our tester as well, mate. So I know where you're coming from. And I suppose when someone doesn't bat an eyelid, you walk away like bemused, like thinking, why didn't I do this to start with? You know what I mean? And now I've got this mess of trying to bring everyone's prices up. But because I've been cleaning them for so long, I kind of probably think most of them would say about bloody time, to be honest. Angus is just saying, yeah, the forecasts recently have been so far off. It was -12 in the village, bloody hell. And he was doing an interior on Monday. The thing you find when it's really cold, unless they ain't got the heating, like in a conservatory, you clean, doesn't it? It all gets misty and smeary and stuff like that. It's a bugger to clean. Gerard, you are, mate. He's saying, let's say when you get 100 inquiries, 90% you accept your prices. You probably 50% may have paid £2 or £3 more if you asked. Yeah, it's having the confidence in it. And if you take those and let the rest go, you're making more, but yeah, still taking on new ones. So it's like I said, if I put all my prices up and be bold and just go for it to where they should be, and some of my customers say no and go off, but the other ones have said yes, you can argue I'm going to be on the same money for a lot less work, really. And then, like you're saying, when new customers come in, you quote, they don't bat an eyelid, as you've already been said, and then you take them on the price should be charging. Then all of a sudden you've got room to keep going, haven't you? Whereas if you keep everybody, you're not going anywhere, and the price of living and everything else is just going up. You're going to end up behind. JLB's, just saying to someone, couldn't agree more. Quoting jobs yesterday between £15 and £20. Found a customer that claimed theirs done for £10. Makes it harder for the rest of us, including ourselves. Yeah. I've got a customer I bumped into during the week. I haven't been cleaning him that long, but I met him at a customer's house, and he's a painter and decorator. He's been painting for 35 years, fourth generation in his family. He's worked with his granddad and his dad. It's now him. And it's interesting. We were just chatting, and the same things we're all talking about and what I'm saying, he was saying the same thing about his as well. It's interesting. So he's like us, charging what you think's reasonable compared to other people, but really it's not enough. And he said as well, the first time in 35 years, because he's got his tax return coming up, he started to ask his wife, is this really worth it? It's the only time he's ever felt like packing in, because it just doesn't seem what you're doing is enough. And the only way really is to put your prices up. But then you worry if you put them up too high, you're going to lose people. Because everyone's tight, aren't they? It's not just us. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation we were having. And he's on about putting his prices up, that sort of thing. And also, anyway, just speaking to him, he's saying, it's funny, we're talking, and he said, would you come around my area because there's me, a neighbour, and our window cleaner might be packing up, and he did. So I went round there, and he actually said I was £1 cheaper than his window cleaner who's not cleaning anymore because he's packed up. So my pricing, again, even though I'm saying it's low, I think round where I am, I'm pretty much the same as what everyone around here is charging. So yes, I'm going to put them up, but you're then worried that you're going to put them up too high. But it's a lot to think about. At the moment, we're just working out all the stuff and I'm going to work out how much better off I am each day with the price increases on that particular houses on that round, and then say, should we do it and just take it? It's either, hopefully, will be the same, less work, and we can take on new customers who will get the prices. Potter's saying set your minimum to £20. Yeah. I think when I worked out that figure, 375, dividing it by like 15 cleans, it works out 20, is it 25, £20, something like that. So, you know what I mean? And that's the other thing I was going to go on to here about doing this is you can target then houses you want for your minimum price. So it's not like you go to a small house and say it's 20 quid. You just say you haven't got any more room, but the houses that bracket within the price you would like to charge, they're the ones you're taking on because they've got enough windows to meet that price, if you get what I mean. So you're profiling your customers. That was something I was going to bring up. You are, mate, saying it's great for me because I also want to get into dumpsters. I figured do everything around the home industry, windows, right, it's a bit of everything really. And it's a bit of variety, isn't it? Now you're saying your minimum for 2 up, 2 down is £22 4 weekly and £26 if they're an 8 weekly. See, I'm miles off. I feel exactly the same way. My confidence is there, but I want to offer the same quality to every customer. Yeah, you got your own standards that you want to stick to, if that makes sense. Your principles, and what makes you, you. Every time you get a new customer paying the proper price, put the price up. If a low-paying customer to where it should be. If you lose them, you haven't lost anything, because you've gained someone on paying money, so you can afford to lose someone, if that makes sense. It's just for me. I'm doing my price. I'm saying April, this is the price. That's it for everyone across the board. Done. And then everyone knows as well it's that price for the next 2 years till the next put them up. Doing construction with details top notch. It's very hard to switch that off. Yeah, because I was in the military. When someone says clean something, it's going to be clean basically. So that's why I tend to over clean. I think. I saying including VAT. You charge more for trad cleans and interior work. It's a funny thing about trad as well, because when I first started, I was looking at this and thinking, how much do I charge for water-fed pole? Because I know I've spent a lot of money on my equipment, so I could charge more to clean a house. But then I was trying to think of it from a customer's point of view, saying, yeah, but you're cleaning it quicker, so it should be the same price as someone who is treading it, because you can do more in a day, so you can earn more money. That was my thinking as well. But now, isn't it? People are saying, well, trad takes more time, so you charge more. But then you're looking, well, to buy the equipment to do traditional cleaning is going to be cheaper than buying the equipment to do water-fed pole. Yet you can charge more per hour, perhaps. So what one is really better off? You know, it's weird, isn't it? The window washer saying, apologies, I've deleted about 3 messages. My sausage fingers. Don't worry about that, mate. It's either big sausage fingers, isn't it, or it's freezing cold outside. And you're just saying as well, Dom, your minimum charge, someone else saying £20. And Joe was just saying we took 80 new jobs this year, then quoted the bottom 20%. Most went up £5. We lost about 40% of the re-quoted jobs, but the new jobs coming in more than covered it, and 60% paid an extra £5. Wow. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? And it's like someone else said to it as well, isn't it? You should never turn away. I've forgotten who it was now. On a video said, never turn away a customer if they're asking for a quote, even if you're full, because that's when you can push your price and see what they say. And if they say yes, then you can maybe get rid of the ones, you know what I mean, that are way underpriced and are not going to accept a new quote. So it's kind of testing the market without testing everybody in one go and losing all your customers. Right, just caught up on the chat. Cheers, guys. Sorry about that. I'm trying to think where I was going to get up to now. So I'll go back to this screen. It's enough of that calculator. So we talked about the VAT thresholds, your hourly rates, and daily. Right, get rid of that one. And then just trying to catch up with things I was going to cover is your efficiency. Right, so going back to efficiency, you've already talked about it, like saying one person in a van is more efficient than two. And I think everyone would agree with that one. Because, like I said, I even knew with two of us in the van, you're not going to be twice as quick because it still takes the same time to drive somewhere, same time to get out the van, same time to pack up. So that's not going to be any faster. It's just the actual when you're cleaning the windows, because one of you could be at the front, one could be at the back. That's the only thing. But is it worth? You're not going to earn enough for two people maybe and have a bigger profit. Whereas if you had one person in a van, two vans, that van's paying, you know what I mean, their wages, and you're going to get more profit because you're more efficient that way, I suppose. So I just go back to another message. Sorry, Dawn's just come in. Start in March, increase a few at a time. Right. So rather than me saying April, do everyone. Just do a few at a time during the summer. Don't like it all in one go and get a feel for what their response. So basically, if it's not going down well, maybe to adjust how much you're putting them up by, if that makes sense. So it's testing the water. Does make sense, mate. Angus saying most of your £15 take 10 minutes or less. So that's good, isn't it, when you look at your price per hour, so to speak. It's not like if you do 6 houses because you've got to drive between, isn't it? But you're still going to be on like nearly £60 an hour, I guess. With driving around. You can afford to go slow, can't you? That's good going, mate. Like I say, if it's working, isn't it? That's what I've got to try and sort out. Yeah, so like we said, you can work out by doing this, keep an eye on the time, your cleans per day, working out the money, efficiency, and the more efficient you are, that can also have an effect on what we said, your hourly rate. That can push it up as well by just being efficient. Going on to what I was going to mention is other services. So I suppose once you've worked out your window cleaning, your hourly rate of what you tend to on average earn whilst doing a job, for example, and then someone's asking you to clean a conservatory roof, that's what you've got to base it on, is because what's the point of doing a roof and it's going to earn you less money per hour than when you're doing the windows, plus the windows are easier. So then you've got to work out on there, are you underpricing conservatory roofs, which I no doubt am, because I'm always trying to give a good deal. That's just me. So I've got to be more confident in pricing them up, really. Otherwise, it's not worth it. And I charge per metre for the gutter clearing. That's just how we've done it. So measure it up, times it by what we charge. It seems to work for us. Some jobs you're always going to lose on, and some jobs you're always going to make on. As long as you're thereabouts, that's just life, isn't it? You can't be too precise at everything. So again, working out, keeping an eye on all this, I suppose, works out whether your charge per metre is enough or you need to put that up, for example. Angus just only put your running trainers on. It's boots, isn't it, in Scotland with all that weather? So just ticking a couple of things off on my list. So yeah, going back to, like we're saying with efficiency, is other things like someone saying charge more if you're rural. You could probably charge more as well if you're in a town, because the road traffic can be that busy. It's actually slowing you down driving between jobs as well. So like me on my rounds, we're starting to work out certain days just run better than others. And you probably find it's because mainly, even though we're traveling there, we've priced them an extra window, for example. So that's pushed the price up, and we tend to do better them days, even though there's more travelling and we're fighting the traffic, just because everything's better priced. So it's things like that show up to you as well, isn't it? So Angus is just saying, I'm obviously in the honeymoon period, like you said, where I'm jumping at most jobs and trying to get the best price for these things. Already thinking about what else I could provide to customers. I would just stick with the windows, and then you can clean fascia softeners and gutters with the stuff you clean the windows with, so you can offer that as well, can't you? And if you haven't got a gutter vac, maybe it's worth buying a ladder and you can offer gutter clears as well that way, or maybe not. Yeah, it's just sticking with your comfy, and then you've got your conservatory roofs as well. But I say definitely learn how to charge for them. But I used to charge a lot and then felt I was overcharging, so I've charged less. Now I'm undercharging personally. Yeah, you're saying gutters, that sort of thing. Yeah. Um, just do what works for you, really. But what you will find is when you're doing your windows, people will start asking you, "Do you do this? Do you do that?" That's what I found. So I started just saying, because I say yes to everything, and then I did all the other bits. Don't do pressure washing though. Too eager, should wait a couple of years. Nah, just get in there, isn't it? And you might like a bit of variety as well. And you're learning different stuff, isn't it? What you apply, what you learn through window cleaning, you apply to everything else. So what else we got to? Yeah, I've said driving, mentioned services, my price per meter. Yeah, and I was also saying when you're pricing, you want a fudge factor, so that's your profit. Because we get things right, we get things wrong, that sort of thing. And like I said as well, we're always going to lose days' work. So that's maybe something else I need to factor. That's why I'm too low as well. Factor that in my pricing to push it up for those days where you can't work because of the weather and your customers don't want you coming round. And I suppose you get a lot more up there in Scotland, do you, Agnes, than what we do down here? Yeah, one of my points here is like working in 2 man or 1 man per van, but you've mentioned that. And like I said, there's no real easy answer, no right way, no wrong way, is it? We just come to our conclusions ourselves. Something else I was going to go on to is I've forgotten now. I know Ched and God, last week. Sorry, his name's gone from me. Was mentioned about the inflation calculator. So if you look up Bank of England inflation calculator on the internet, I found this. It won't let you go £1, say 50. You have to go 150, and just remember that with the decimal places. But what I did from here is just went a pound, and I said back in 2018, because that's when I started window cleaning, and that's what I was initially charging, pound a window, because I just joked, thick soldier, just count a window or door, that's one. So £1 in 2018 nowadays is equivalent of £1.37, and we're charging like £1.30 a standard window is what we go for. And that's what I said to my wife. So effectively, put the price up, but we're still really working off £1 an hour. And then if you wanted to work out like what £1.30 was, if I was charging that from the day go, so I have to put in 130, but remember, it's decimal places. And then looking on here, 165 quid. Wouldn't mind charging that window, but move the decimal places to the left too. So I should be charging £1.65p or £1.66 if you round it up per window, to be the equivalent of charging £1.30 a window in 2018. And when you look on the window cleaning forums, people were saying back then in 2018, your minimum charge should be, well, mine is £15. You see the posts on there like that. So, yeah, I know, Nelly, it's mad, isn't it, on the inflation calculator? Another good thing you can do is I found out it does work backwards. So if you said £1.30 in October 2024, what it costs in 2018, click show amount, you can reverse it. So £1.30 today is saying back in 2018 was worth £1 2p. So you could use this, is what I was thinking. If you've worked out you're going to do price per standard window and do it that way, break the house down to standard windows and add on windows to account for, you know, when access is not too good or you're having to get your ladder because it's costing you time to get off the van. So again, you can play around with your prices. Here's what I thought. So if you wanted to charge £1.50 per window, but then you look at that and say, well, the equivalent in 2018, that's charging £1.18 a window. I think if I went £1.50 a window round here, the way I work, I feel a lot of people are going to say no. Definitely if I go higher than that. So again, we were thinking £1.40, but when you say £1.40 a window and look at what it's worth in 2018, it's not much, is it? So that's your inflation calculator. One thing I thought of doing here is also with the inflation calculator, once I've got my prices right, where we're happy, let's just say, that's why I'm thinking draw a line, be ballsy and say in 2000, 1st of April 2025, my price increase on this house, on your house, will be this. And that is it. And if you say yes, happy days. If they say no, I'll probably sweat. But hopefully, I've still covered my bases. I am turning away quotes at the moment because we haven't got space, so I can then afford to bring them in. And as long as they say yes to me price, I should recover from that. It's just having the balls, isn't it? But what I was thinking is using this inflation calculator instead of putting my prices up £1 every year, because like we said, it doesn't work. If you've got someone that's you're charging £15 for a house because they've got say 10 windows and doors and that, you're going to put them up to £16, but you're doing a house where you're charging like 40, 50 quid and you're going to put them up £1. It's not really going to work because they've got more windows. So that's why I like to price per window. So the price rise reflects that as well. So I was thinking to just, because in Squeegee, I can't get Squeegee up on here because what will happen is you see all my customer details, but you pay for the ultimate one and they've got a pricing section. So I can go in there and then use filters. So I've done a test just for me. So I qualify in there. And then I've just said I'm going to put my price up 5% and it's automatically adjusted my price and also the date I want to put it in. So that's what I'm saying. With Squeegee, if I say up, either you can go a fixed amount or percent. So I like the idea of percent because it'll put it on all my services. So if I'm, say, a certain amount, let's just say you're £5 a metre for argument's sake, that's not what I am, I'm less than that. Let's say you're £5 a metre for a gutter clear and you went up 5%, it'll add 5% on your gutter clear as well. So all your services go up by 5%, for example, and it'll adjust for all that. And all I'm doing is pressing one button and it will inform all my customers their price has gone up. New price will be this, starting from this date, and I just press one button. So yeah, that anyway, going back, sorry, to this, I'll get to the comments. That's what I was thinking is, let's just say it's 2024 now, and my last put them up was in 2022. Let's just say for an argument's sake, it's £1. Okay, it's gone up 11p. It doesn't tell you the percent, but all I was working out is if you can work out the percent, then I just increase the what the inflation rate over 2 years was, and then all I'm going to do is use that as my price increase. So it's CPI index, consumer price indexed. But you've got to get your customers, or I have anyway, priced to where they should be. And then after that, stepping forward, I just go off the inflation rate, and that's it. So if anyone says why, I go, it's going up according with inflation, and I'm sure they're going to Dr. Google it and find out exactly that's why, and what I've said's right. So just going back to the comments. Sorry. A strange one. I like to knock on doors. Adorn saying to let the customers know you're there. Sometimes a little chat, part of the job, but 5 minutes lost in every job. Yeah, times 12. I know what you're saying there. Before COVID, I always knocked on the door first. And then when there's no answer, like, do I just crack on or do I give it a while and I'll try a second time? So I do no more than 2 knocks. And then when there's no knock, I then get cleaning and then you kick yourself thinking I could have done a window by now. But I always thought it was nice to knock and say, how I've just come to clean your windows, because you don't want to just walk around the back and someone has a heart attack because you've made them jump, that sort of thing. But when COVID hit, I used to knock on the door and I found people weren't answering the doors because they're in the middle of work meetings, Zoom stuff. Like I say, just meetings through work. So what I found during COVID, it was the opposite. People were fine. I just walked in through the gates and did the clean. Didn't even say I finished because I always like to say hello at the start, and I always made a point of saying bye at the end and to say thank you, because some people like to pay you straight away that way. So that's kind of reversed it. And since then, I don't tend to knock. I just go round, say hello, and I'll knock at the end when I know those like to speak to me at the end or, pay that way. So yeah, but it all adds to your time lost. But again, that's something we factor in your hourly rate, if you get what I mean. So it covers that. Where do we get to? Yeah, sorry, Angus is saying, yeah, I've been getting those questions as well. Do you do gutters? I have to say no, but then I watch as the customer burns the cash in front of me. Ladders aren't cheap nowadays, mate, but if you can't afford a gutter vac, you're probably going to have to go a ladder, a Harris pole, or you can use a cheap window cleaning pole and then get your pro gutter tools that fit on the end of it. little ladder. It's not a ladder, mate. I forgot what it's called, but it sticks in the run of the ladder, mate, with a carabiner, so you can hang a bucket off it. And then you want the big buckets for it to empty it in, and you'll be fine. That's the way you go. But cleaning gutters, you'll find out, are not straightforward because it's not a case you can get your hand in the gutter. Sometimes the roof tiles hang over the gutter and you can hardly get your finger in there, so you'll come across these problems. But you work all these things out as you go. And then I always found with them ones, that's also another problem if you had a gutter vac. You know what I mean? But you work ways around them. Or you could do what I did, mate, is I ended up getting a loan, which I'm still paying off. But with that loan, I brought myself 2 electric reels and I brought myself a nice gutter vac plus the generator to go with it. And I love now my gutter vac, and I'm really glad I got it. Don't care, I'm still paying it off. It earns me good money and it makes the jobs, I can get more gutter jobs in a day. Plus, my customers are bewildered who have never seen that and they think I'm going to go up a ladder and you pull that out. They generally come out to say, I'm not watching you, I'm just watching this kit. It's amazing. So it's good and it gets you work. Yeah, 31% increase with the inflation rate from 2018. Matt's just saying, when you price per window, is it per window or per opening? Yeah, for me, I just do per the window itself, not the pane of glass. So if it's got, say, 2 panes and an opener, I just count it as 1 window. That's what I mean. And I try and do a standard size window. So like I said, we'll count 8, says 8 windows, keep it simple, 2 doors, so that's 10. And if there's a couple of bigger windows on there, then we'll add, say, an extra window. And then, like you said, if I have to get a ladder to do something, that's an extra window. That's kind of like what we do. And then I just write in the customer's profile. So if we ever change the price per window as a way of going up, we just times it by the windows we say the house is worth. Or like I'm saying with this new squeegee, we just do percentage and it rounds up. You can round it up to nearest 5 pence, 25, 50p or pounds. So I round up to nearest pound. And then, because like I said, I just press 1 button and it sends all the messages out and adjusts all the prices for me. So that's what we're looking at. But I'm having to test it out because, you know, these things don't always work as good as what they say they will. No worries, Matt. You're just saying baby just fell asleep to the sound of my voice. I'm that boring. Yeah, no. Hopefully it's a soothing thing. Or do I send a lot of people to sleep? And Gerald's saying we charge roughly £2 per window. Started in 2001. The minimum wage has doubled in that time, and most costs as well, I believe. Inflation and your business costs, yeah, are 2 different things. I think even though inflation's going up, isn't it, the cost of your equipment tends to be going up quicker than that. Agnes saying, I have the money to get a gutter vac. So are you really, really tempted to get one, mate? And you just don't know if you should. The thing is, isn't it, when you've got that money saved up, it's hard work to earn all that to suddenly lose it. And also you like a buffer. But if you see Matt from Your Cleaner Windows on his videos, he's got a nice little gutter vac called a Panther. And there's lots of other ones similar that size, so you can get other makes. But it's small enough to keep in your van all the time and with a little generator. So it's a handy thing to have. So if someone impromptu comes out and says, do you do gutter clears? And you say, yeah. And let's say you haven't got a lot left on after that job. So when can you do it now? You could just whip that out and just do it there and then. It's just shop around and look, watch loads of YouTube and see what you think will be better. And don't get too eager, mate, as well, because I sometimes dive in without completely working it out and then I find I'm stumped. Luckily, I can get my big gutter vac with a generator and I can fit it in my van only just. If I'd got a bigger tank than what I've got, it wouldn't have fitted in and then I'd kind of be stumped. So do a bit of homework as well is what I would say. Gutter Pro Tools, yeah. It's even if you get a gutter vac, Angus, still get your Protogo Gutter Pro Tools and I'd still get a ladder as well. Because the gutter vac is not really singing or dancing 120% at the end of the day. There are bits where the gutter vac will struggle and you're just going to be quicker rather than persevering. Is just get the ladder out and run up, put your hand in and pull the bit out. That's a problem. So you still need them. Not a huge fan of ladders working alone. No, that's the other thing, and especially in Scotland, because when it's so cold, things can be slippery, can it, and wet decking, that sort of thing. And I suppose some of the nice stony slabs you get out there. Yeah. Matt's saying get the gutter vacuum. Have a look at, is that G4 Systems? Squeaky Clean Dave has just done a video. I just saw that, but I haven't seen the videos. So I saw there's a different gutter vac, so I'm going to watch that. Also, gutter vacuum systems, GVS. Nelly's saying the same thing, I think. Squeaky Clean Dave. Oh, what have I done? Pressed the wrong button. Has dropped a video, yeah, showing off a new gutter van. Ooh, looks decent. Well, I'm going to have to head over and watch that when I finish this. I don't know if you guys find this. It's like porn, in it? All this window cleaning stuff. I think my wife just can't believe the amount of stuff I watch. Not that sort of thing. I'm thinking with window cleaning. Angus just saying you'll take a look, and he's just saying thanks to everyone as well. Yeah, let's have a look round, mate, and I'd say do your homework. But I love my gutter vac. I must admit, absolutely love it. And yeah, and I do. I really love it, and the customers like it as well. And I think when they see you're serious, they don't mind paying what you're charging as well, because you've got doing a good job. And especially when you get the cameras, you're looking up there, and you can even show them. You know what I mean? They're pretty interesting. Yeah, it is, mate. It's the world of window cleaning becomes the new porn. Yeah, it's the wrong kind of suction. It's awesome suction though. You don't want to see customers doing that. And yeah, Matt's just saying get a small one if you're doing residentials. You don't need to get like a massive one. I've got an industrial 85, but I have got some big houses around here, so there are times I'm really glad I got it. I just like it, the wheels it's on to move around. So I was glad I spent that extra bit of money on it. I don't regret it. It's really good. Nelly's saying as well, you can't beat this Skyvac Industrial 85. Like, you know, I love mine. Absolutely love it. When I got mine, it was, they give me actually £500 discount, and that's without me fishing for it, because I bought the generator, the Elite poles, 6 poles, and the Industrial 85. But then also a couple of weeks after that, then they brought out the new bins where it's got that hose, so you can drain the water out of it. So that's why I probably got a bit of a discount. So save me pennies. That's another upgrade. Hot water system on my van I'd love, and I'd like to upgrade me Industrial 85, so you've got that drain output on it that the new ones have now. Yeah, Matt's saying all get both, because Angus, what Matt's got, he's got his Panther, and he's also got the Predator, which is like similar to the Industrial 85, but GVS's version. So he's got a big and a small one. And I suppose that way as well, it could come in handy. If, like for me, if my son could use a small one, I'd use the other one on the other side of the house or something. I don't know. But it's horses for courses, isn't it? Yes, that's all I wanted to cover really, was the different ways, and see what you guys think of coming. You know, you've got to put your windows up, but how do you work it out effectively? By looking at your business in a business approach, even though I don't know anything about running a business. You kind of just make it up, jump in with both feet in the deep end and learn to swim, don't you? And that's how you're going to learn and take things on. So looking at stuff, weighing up like what your hourly wages rate is, and you can break that down per minute, like I said. So when you look at a house, you think, well, that's going to take 25 minutes. You just times that figure by 25, and you're there, and probably add a little bit extra on just to make sure, you know what I mean? Or do you do it per window? Because like I say, that's what I like to do. Because around here, I can't just say a 3-bedroom house, because every 3-bedroom around here, where I live, is absolutely different. Yeah, and Angus is saying, right, yeah, food for thought, full of questions, but I can save them for next week. Ask away, mate, doing the community, and if me and Matt can sort out a link, I'll bung it in the community post somewhere so that you can use that. I'm wondering if every time you use a link and you send it to someone, when you use the link again, it changes. So I reckon every time. So I reckon that might be what it is. I don't know. I've got to look into it. I don't do much on Facebook, to be honest. Yeah, a small amount every year. The longer you leave it, the more you have to put them up, as in your pricing. So yeah, rather than do it every 2 years, maybe do it every year. That's what I was thinking. Get me prices right, and then just do it along the lines of inflation. But also, you got to keep an eye on your outgoings. Another good thing is also if your outgoings are too much, you can see where you need to rein them in a bit, and then that's going to make you more profitable as well, isn't it? Matt's just saying the window cleaners hub. All right, the group is searchable on Facebook, so even though the link won't work, hopefully see the name of the group, the window cleaners hub, and then basically apply there, and then window cleaners hub, mate. That's what it is, and then yeah, just get in there and we'll see how it goes, and we'll just have it as a bit of a chat room, really, and help each other out. Sorry, just another comment come in. As you said, whatever gutter vac you choose cannot do a complete job without the ladders in case. Elbows vac doesn't always unblock many other things, crop up. They do, like you get I forgot what it's called now, like the mortar in the gullies, that breaks away. Sometimes it'll slide into the gutter. The gutter vac can get hold of it, but it can't lift it out because it gets caught underneath the actual roof tile. Whereas if you go up on your ladder, you can turn it round and then just pull it out. And sometimes it's quicker just to accept that you need to get the ladder and run up than try and be smart and think, oh, I'm going to spend 20 minutes on my gutter vac to get it out, when you could have done it in a couple of minutes on the ladder, you know what I mean? Plus as well, if you're like me, sod's law would be, use your gutter vac, you pick it up, and as you move it over a car, it'll drop off and smash your car. So it's probably safer to get it out the ladder and put it in a bucket. You ain't going to drop it anywhere. Matt's saying green background on the name, the window cleaners hub. Let's see if I can get it. I say get it up. You have to be careful what you say sometimes. Yeah, so it looks like this on the Facebook. So that's what it means by green background. You've got a picture of a brush and conservatory and the window cleaners hub. You can see we've got 3 members. Way. Like I say, click on invite. Let's just say invite with a link. If I stick it on here, I can't post it in the chat. Won't let me do that. The other thing I was going to talk about as well was, cheers, Nelly. Probably the best one everyone should look at is Lee Pryor, because he's probably one of the most successful window cleaners out there. I don't know if you know Agnes, and some other people might not know. He's basically made redundant for the second time within a 2-year period. Amazing story. He's around his then girlfriends or his girlfriend his place, and her parents were saying they need a window cleaner. So he thought, I'll do it, I'll clean it. And he went out, brought the tools, cleaned the windows, and become a window cleaner. And he didn't have a vehicle, so he used a car from his nan, and off he went. And now he's running like a big business. 23 vans, over £1 million, probably near £2 million turnover, I don't know, in a year. And because he basically wanted to be something different, so what he did was looking at the way some companies did commercial window cleaning and thought that's what he wants to be, but for residential, and obviously have a big turnover. And he's done it. He's done a lot of risk and everything to get there, but if he can do it, and he's not got a big ego neither. But I was looking at his stuff, like trying to work out his pricing system to kind of adopt that. But obviously he can charge what he charges because he's got people working for him on the pay AYE system. Is not like self-employed like me, so it's pointless you trying to mimic them exact prices, because he has to be like that, 'cause he's got to do all the pensions, holiday pay, sick pay, and everything like that. But he's got some interesting stuff on there. Where is it? Other services. I was looking on here basically when we were all talking about conservatory roofs. He's got it here. So he's saying if a 3 or 4 bedroom semi-house is £100 for a conservatory roof, and so on, up to a 5-bedroom detached, 160 quid. So that's always going to be a rough ballpark, and I suppose they quote to get it different, because like he probably wouldn't want to charge 130 quid for my conservatory roof because it's massive. But he also, if you go down here, when he's talking about regular cleans, he doesn't do them any more often than quarterly. So what he's saying, quarterly is 40% of the price of a full clean. If you do it every 6 months, it's 30%. And then what he's saying is yearly. So if you book the same service for a year, then he'll give you 20% off as well. So it's obviously not going to be as dirty as the first time he cleaned it, is it? So he's got a paying system there, and that's food for thought for your conservatory roofs, isn't it? Like I said, when I done my poll, I think about 38 people replied on the poll when I said, do you do conservatory roofs or do you just stick with windows? And it's basically almost, it's like 56% said they do roofs, 46% did just windows. So it's pretty much half and half. So it didn't really help me decide, do I drop doing conservatory roofs? But looking at this one, maybe I should drop doing them every single clean and do it like that every quarterly for a fixed price of, say, a certain percent of what the roof clean would be. So it's upped it a bit, because you can't do it every month because it's not dirty enough to charge a good amount. So then you're charging it, for what would be a nice price, I suppose, to be fair, but it's not effective for you because the time it takes, you're doing more cleaning the window than the roof. So it kind of boxes you in the right area, I suppose. So that was food for thought. It's worth looking at his website, I suppose. And also the payment system. Like we go cardless. I like the system as well. I think Matt does something similar as well, where, like it says, and you can see as well with Lee, he does 6 or 12 weeks. So he's moved up from 4 to 8 to 6 to 12. He's saying what time they send the text out the night before that you're coming round, and then the payment and everything like that. And also, if you go into his terms and conditions, they're worth a look. He's got some good things there in place for what you're signing up for. What happens if you turn them away on the day? Basically, you're going to get charged a full amount, or they forget to open the gate so you can't get around the back, you're charged a full amount. And also what you're signing up for is a minimum of 3 cleans. So if you did the 1 clean and then didn't want any, you're paying for 3 cleans. And we all know as well, if you do 3 cleans, the windows, any spotting that you might get when you're doing a first clean, for example, no matter how good you clean it, you still might get the possibilities of rundowns. But I always tell my customer it's gone by the 3rd clean, so it kind of ties in with that, doesn't it? I mean, today, all right, I've had 2 quotes come in, or people asking for quotes in a village near me, but they're basically asking, is there any chance of cleaning me before Christmas? So that's what they want. But we're replying we can't because we've got our regular rounds to look after. But I have said to my wife, it could be a chance to quote high on it and see if they say yes to the price or not. Test it on someone like that. But yeah, it's worth a look on his website anyway. So I've just seen some customers come in. Yeah, Matt's just saying we'll accept everyone in the group after the live. Agnes is cool, sweet. Yeah, Matt's saying you got your pricing from Lee Pryor. Because I remember on Lee's old website, he had it priced like you've got it on yours, whereas it's not like that on his now. Yeah, and some 3-bedroom houses with massive conservatory roofs. There's no house the same, is it? They can all be different. That's why I like to quote in person. God, there was another window cleaning website I found. I'm not going to find it looking for it. But basically on the website, he broke it down to like small, medium, large windows, patio doors, conservatory roofs. And obviously I put 0 for everything and just 1 to find out what his pricing was. And for standard windows, charging £1.60. For small windows, charging £1.10p. So there's me saying, if you charge £1, what was it? 66p. That's the equivalent of £1.30 a window back in 2018. So I'm guessing that's why he's charging £1.60. And he was trad as well. You do come across things like that. It's good to try and work out what other people are doing. You don't want them to say yes to the higher price and then come Feb and they don't want your business anymore. Yeah. And I think these particular individuals are just mainly after a clean before Christmas. That's all they want. And then they wouldn't take you on. So I think whatever you charge, that's what they want, one-off clean. But, look after me customers. They've stuck by me, so I'll stick by them. Don't think I've got anything else to probably show you or anything like that. So, the Dawn's just saying, I think we need to make window cleaning an Olympic sport. God, it feels like it sometimes. I mean, my back is playing up today. Yesterday we were working. What did we do? Got a really good customer. Didn't do the face offs and gutters this time because it's pointless this time of year. All the spiders are dead, isn't it? And it's because we do theirs regularly, so it's clean. So there's no points. We just had all the windows. It's a nice big place, and they're nice people. And then we've got a big job that I normally do for a company where they've got like a showroom. So they've got 7 conservatories, and we clean in and out, roof as well, in and out. And then I clean their main building. That's work as a family for that, but because my wife's had an accident in our car, typical, just finished paying it off for 1 month and now it's written off. So she couldn't turn up with me other kids, so we had less of us doing that job as well. But luckily with the time of year, it was a cinch. And then I had another job where we did fascia softs and gutters. We do their job every 6 months, so they weren't too bad to clean, so they weren't too dirty compared to the first time we'd done it and did the windows. And then when I got home, my back was killing me. And today it's not been much fun. So I'll see what it's like tomorrow, getting old. So yeah, that's the Olympic sport there. Some briefing and crack on, I suppose, or quite a few of them. Tends to do a job as well. Good at moving our hands up and down on the bowls anyway, ain't we? Probably be a good Olympic sport. Winter Olympics is something we'd be good at as well, wouldn't it? But yeah, anyway, I've been going on for an hour and 40 minutes, so that's massively. And I just thought I'd follow on from the live the other night when we talk about putting your prices up. I know everyone's thinking about it because it's coming to that time, I suppose. It's good to evaluate. I find winter's a good time to look at efficiency. But again, looking at your pricing, efficiency is going to help up your hourly rate as well. But I need to up my prices as well. Poll vote. And yeah, so it's also trying to look at it, isn't it? Rather than just outgoings, incomings, all that stuff. It's trying to project the money you need to replace your van at some point. And that's all got to be factored in your pricing sales. That's what I was trying to work out. Is to work out your hourly rate, you've got to take in the fact you drive, how much driving you do in the day. It's not just the time you're doing it on the glass, because that's when you underprice it. It's the other stuff that comes with it. And for me, if I'm doing it price per window, what I've got to factor into that price per window is me outgoings, the money I want to go towards buying a new van, so I don't have to get a loan for that type of thing. And it's the same if you're employing people, isn't it? And then you've got to do the PAYE, pensions. It's all got to be factored into that price, isn't it? And that's why the price is what it is. I don't know, Nelly, what type of pole vaulting. But yeah, well, anyway, that's it for me, guys. Don't know if you've got anything to say. Like I say, have a look at the Window Cleaners Hub Facebook group, get in there, and then hopefully we'll make that a place where we can hang out and make it some sort of community amongst ourselves, help each other out, that kind of thing. It's another thing I was going to talk about is the supply chain, isn't it? There's a big chain, like where things are made from factories, a business will sell it to another business, and then we buy the kit from them for our window cleaning. And if there's no window cleaners, it's going to snowball, or any one person in that chain, it has an effect on everybody, doesn't it? So you kind of got to look out for each other, really. Yeah, don't work faster than a comfortable pace. There's always one that'll pay more for one that won't. That's a good comment that was said earlier. And that's very true, isn't it? Anyway, thanks everyone. I'm going to call it a night. Take care. Have another good week. Hopefully the weather's going to be good. It's December. I know I've lost one day because it's a MOT day. Hopefully I ain't got a huge bill. Service as well. But I've got the money now put aside for that. So it's not like I'm hoping I can earn enough. I've got enough. I'm just now hoping I don't lose any days' work that eats into that. But yeah, have a good one.